In today's lesson, we are taking a look at Openart. This is going to be your one-stop shop for all of your image generation needs. Openart is really brilliant because what you have access to via Openart is basically every image generation model that is available. So if you sign up for an Openart account, first things first, you'll need an Openart account. You can, I think, try a little bit for free to kick things off, but Openart is actually really inexpensive. You get for $7 a month, you get 4,000 credits, and generating an image costs somewhere around 15 credits. So really, really cheap. I haven't done the math exactly, but it's really cost effective. Let's get into today's lesson. Openart.ai. It will be the link. I will put the links for all the tools that we use in this course in the description area below this video. But the first things we're going to want to do once we're getting started with the Openart is head over to the image section over here. You'll see this page. And as you can see, there are actually a lot of different features you can use. But typically I stick to the create image section over here. So actually, let me jump into my actual account here. This is Openart create image section. And I've been generating some cats. Isn't that nice? Okay, so let's take a quick look first at the main control panel that you're going to be doing most of your image generation work within, and that is what we're looking at right here. And what we see at the top left is model or character. And right now we have seed dream selected. And as you can see over here, if I expand to open that menu, we've got a plethora of different image generation models. What is an image generation model and why does this matter? Well, for example, we've got Seed Dream, Nano Banana, GPT image, that's ChatGPT, Flux Context, etc. An image generation model is basically trained on images. It's a model which has been taught about generating images in a certain way with certain advanced degrees of learning, right? Some of them are, for example, perhaps trained on anime, right? Like anime art. Some of them are going to be trained on realistic looking people. Some of them are going to be trained on XYZ, whatever, right? So different image models are trained on different things. And as you can see, there are just a whole bunch to choose from. Black and white coloring book, pixel art. This one's trained on Lego and making everything into Lego, right? So what we're actually going to be doing, even though we do have options to use all of these different image models, we're probably going to be sticking to the major three, and that is Nano Banana. That's probably number one. We've got Seed Dream over here, which is probably number two, maybe tied for number one. And then we've got Flux Context Max, which used to be number one until Nano Banana came along. There is also GPT Image, which it does a good job. But I really think the leader right now is Nano Banana. And of course, stay tuned to this course because as new image models become available and in the AI world, new image models become available quite rapidly, the new best contender is going to probably change. And I'll do an update video about that when it does. The beautiful thing about Nano Banana, let's select that. The beautiful thing about Nano Banana is just how human-like you can communicate with it. So it used to be that with image generation, if you wanted an image to be generated, that you have to describe like in detail, like the cat is sitting on the fence and there's a sign behind the cat and the sign says hello, and you would write in quotes like this, hello world or something like that, and whatever was written in, quotation marks was generated as text. Not all image models, of course, can generate text, but some of the more modern ones can, like the newest ones, like Flux Context Max, as you can see, can generate text. Seed Dream can, Nano Banana can, ChatGPT Image can. Other image models may struggle if you try to put text on your image. So keep that in mind. They're not all trained to understand how to write words. Isn't that kind of funny? It's kind of interesting. But it used to be that you would have to describe in detail what you wanted your image to be about. But with Nano Banana, you can actually communicate with it in a really human-like basic way. So say you might want it to say, generate a high converting YouTube thumbnail to promote my video on cats. Let's stick to the theme of cats. And while we're at it, as you can see, as I scroll down on the left a little bit here, I can select what resolution I want my image to be generated at. Square is the default. That's a 1 by 1. But a YouTube thumbnail, for example, would be the widescreen, 16 by 9. That's the YouTube thumbnail size. That's the TikTok and you say YouTube Shorts. That's your phone size right there, mobile. And then as you can see, there's any number of different aspect ratios in between, depending on your needs. So you can kind of choose what aspect ratio you want, and then you can also choose how many images you want to generate at the same time. So if I just click on create, you can see 4 images are being generated. I can actually hit create again, and 4 more images will be queued up and generated. It's really fast, really efficient. I can, you know, add another prompt to my thing and click generate again. It'll go into the queue and it'll all start generating up. As you can see, we've now got our YouTube thumbnails. Actually, I think I forgot to switch to square. I forgot to switch to square, and that's why. Or sorry, to widescreen, and that's why we're seeing that as it is. I don't know how I did that. Must have not been paying attention. But as you can see, the beautiful thing, like I say, about Nano Banana is I gave it the really base idea, right? And it came up with the words, it came up with the scene, it came up with the calls to action. Like, look at this, watch now, cat secrets revealed, right? Like, it came up with the ideas for me, which is incredibly cool if you do any sort of social media marketing, any sort of YouTube, content creation, if you do any sort of advertising. It's incredibly cool to have like YouTube do the thinking for you. However, if you want to get really specific, let's put a cat in the forest, a black cat, fluffy, cute, right? Let's do something specific. And then I'm actually going to show you some of the other things you can do. We're going to focus a little bit on Nano Banana to start. It is the current best. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the other models. But Nano Banana is kind of your one-stop shop. You can create images, you can modify images, you can have it, think for you and help you to come up with ideas for, like I just did, like YouTube thumbnails for whatever the case may be, right? Or anyway, so there we got our black cat in the forest. Is a bit of an illustrative art style. I didn't specify what I wanted, so I might, specify photorealistic, and you can do that sort of thing, right? You can be photorealistic, or you can say, I didn't spell that right. Photorealistic, it'll probably know what I mean anyways. Or let's say cartoon style or something, right? So you can kind of generate whatever sort of image art style that you want. Now it is actually generating up a little bit more of an illustrative style still, which is why it's again a really nice thing to have something like Openart available. There's our cartoon style. Because if I find that one image model is, for example, having a hard time putting a black cat in a forest, maybe that's not something it's really trained on, I can go ahead and switch models to something like Flex Context Max and generate it again. Maybe switch over to Seed Dream and see how well Seed Dream does, and you can just kind of play around with models until you get what you're looking for. And usually, there we go. That's the cartoon version. I forgot to take that away. Forgot to say take away cartoon from the prompt. But as you can see, this is the Flux Context Max version of a cartoon, right? And there's the Nano Banana version of the cartoon, different art styles, right? And that's kind of the interesting thing when it comes to playing around with different art styles. Now we have Seed Dream, which actually has this really beautiful kind of watercolor style. I actually love that. That's gorgeous. That's so nice. And then okay, so now we've got our realistic version done by Seed Dream. Cool. Let's actually take this realistic version of a cat, and now let's do the next thing that you're probably going to be finding. You're going to. This is perhaps the most useful thing, as when it comes to modern AI image generation, and that is image manipulation, modification of an image. So, of course, if you wanted to, you could upload any image from your computer. Your picture of yourself, picture of your dog, whatever the case may be. You can also go to the history of what you've just recently been generating. And let's grab that realistic cat, even though I'm going to actually save that. That's so cool. By the way, when you like an image, you just click the little download option there, and you can download that to your hard drive. But yeah, I love this little art style. That's so nice. Additionally, if you open up any one of your images, of course, you can cycle around and see the ones that have just been generated. You can also do this little copy prompt if you want to reuse the exact same prompt that you used to generate it. You can also click on reuse settings. I'll show you about that in just a sec, because we're actually going to make use of that a little bit better. Let's say, for example, we wanted to do something with this image. We like the cat. We like everything about the angle of photography. We like everything about that. But let's say we wanted to do something else. Now, Keep in mind that once you've generated an image, you can still switch to a different model. And if you have this image down here in your Omni reference area, whichever image model you're using will learn based on the image that it's looking at and be able to make modifications to it. And you might find that you start by generating with, say, for example, Seed Dream, which generates that really cool art style, but maybe Seed Dream isn't paying attention to some of your modifications, but Nano Banana might do a better job of that. So feel free to switch around models when it comes to editing, and you can kind of figure out which one works best for your needs. Like I say, for the most part, Seed Dream, Nano Banana, Flux Context, maybe GPT Image, and then special purpose ones, anime, different sorts of art style. That's like a t-shirt design art style, that sort of thing. So let's say we wanted to do something with this image. Let's say change the cat's environment to a tropical beach. Tropical beach. Let's let's smell environment, right? And let's also spell environment, correct? I can't speak, can't type. Oh well. It's not like I need those skills for anything except for showing you guys how to use this program. Okay. Um, generate. And there we have our exact same, like I say, exact same image of our exact same cat, but we've perfectly moved his environment or her environment, I don't know, over to this beach. Everything else about the cat remains essentially exactly the same. So isn't that cool? Now let's say we wanted to iterate a little bit further, right? So let's say we liked our cat on the beach. Say we like that one. Let's say we add sunglasses to the cat. That's all we wanted to do, just add some sunglasses to the cat. We can continue to iterate on the images that have been generated and move them around to different environments, add different features, details, characters, whatever the case may be. We could even, oh, okay. There we go. We got our cool cat with glasses. Awesome. I like that one the best, I think. That's cool. So let's continue to iterate based on our current kind of cat image. I'm going to grab the one I like, and I'm also going to grab another image, right? Let's grab an image of, let's say we don't actually have a really diverse. Oh, here we go. I've got some orange cats from before. So this is a really cool thing you can do with generating with, like I say, Nano Banana, Seed Dream, Flux, etc. Is you can supply what's called an omni reference, and that's basically teaching the image generation model what you want to focus on as a subject. That means we can create consistent characters. We can use consistent, creatures, scenarios, environments. We can basically take something from an image that we're working on, or an, image style that we like, or whatever the case may be. And then we can, in a human-like way, instruct what we want to have done. So I might say, put these two cats into the same, put these two cats into the same scene and make them play together. And let's actually change the scene environment. Let's go, the scene is a backyard. All right, so now what we're going to have happen with this is that both of these cats, with their exact details, should actually be put together into the same scene playing together. And what you'll see in just a minute is just how good of a job, like I say, Nano Banana, Seed Dream, whatever the case may be. There we go. So we've got our cat. One of them, of course, has sunglasses. That stayed, right, consistent. They're playing with a little cat toy. That's cute. Let's take a look at some of the options we got. So we got our two cats. That one came out a little bit of an illustrative. That one came out a little bit warped and wobbled. Pretty sure cats don't have feet right there. At least not when they also have feet right there. So that's the thing with image generation too, is that you won't usually get the exact thing you're looking for on the very first try. So you kind of just like generate. And that's why, like I say, Openart is so great, because you can generate up 4 images at a time and just kind of like bang, 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 and then check your results quick and easy. Let's do something. For example, let's say, for example, we wanted to use our little orange cat, right? Let's grab this little orange cat. And let's say that we also wanted to turn this little orange cat into the image style of this little black cat that I thought was so cool before. I could say, convert the orange cat into the art style of the black cat, right? And that's the beautiful thing about Nano Banana, is that it will understand what you're talking about based on what you show it. It's like really, really smart. It's like so intuitive to work with. So there we got a couple more images of our black cat and our orange cat playing together. And if I'm not happy with these results, if I think maybe these look a little too illustrated, I could try the same thing again by using one of the other image generation models. We'll see how Seed Dream does with that. Now, this one actually did not, well, actually, no, it did, didn't it? It did actually kind of put it into that art style. I should also say, and also move the orange cat into the forest scene. Again, not able to spell. There we go. I think it actually did do the art style. You can kind of see that softness around it, but I think it's hard to tell because it looks the same in that environment that it's in. So there's the original. Well, we'll see in a minute, won't we? Sometimes you also do have to adjust your wording around. Prompting does indeed matter. Most of the time, it's going to know what you're talking about. Okay, there we go. We got it that time. There's our orange cat in the environment. In this case, Seed Dream was the one that really paid attention and understood. That's, like I say, why Openart is great. If you find one image generation model is giving you a hard time, and actually, it would actually make sense that Seed Dream would do it because Seed Dream was the original model that generated that art style. So it does make sense. There's a very cute combination cat. I'd like that, but it's not what I asked for. Anyway, so that's a look at basically mixing and remixing. Let's take a look at some possible use case applications. Okay, possible use cases. So I've got this image here of myself just doing a little DJing on the beach. Let's say I like everything about this image, but oh, maybe I don't like my tank top that I'm wearing on that particular day. I could take this image and then I just upload that, as I already have done here, just upload that to the Omni reference area. Choose a model. I find that Seed Dream does a good job with people. Nano Banana also. But I could say something like change the man's shirt to a Hawaiian, I can't spell it, beach shirt. Hawaiian, that's okay. That's what right clicking is for. Hey, Hawaiian, oh gosh. To a tropical, that's what I meant to say, tropical beach shirt. And in this case, actually, I might want to match the output settings to be comparable to the source image, which is actually a widescreen. I actually don't need 4K. That's huge. I'm going to scale that down to 2K, generate up a couple more. And you know what? What I like to do oftentimes is switch and give another model a chance while I'm at it. So, I'm not sitting around waiting. It depends how much time you like to wait around. Okay, so there we've got some Seed Dream versions. That actually didn't come out too well. That didn't come out too well, which is, like I say, why I like to have a couple of different models. Here we do have the Nano Banana model, which I think basically did it, right? So what have we got? There's our, nope, sorry, that's not it. So anyway, there we've got our source image, and then we've got our, versions in a beach shirt. And as you can see, Nano Banana definitely won the day this time. It kept the source image the same and just changed the shirt around. In this case, Seed Dream decided to do all sorts of different things, including changing angles and all that sort of stuff. Now, another thing that you might want to do, depending on how good your results are, is if you supply multiple different images of basically your same subject. So here's a couple of different images of me, for example. I'm going to upload those into the Omni reference area. And in this way, the model can train on a few different source images. And what you'll typically find is that you'll get better results if, for example, you're saying like you want to use the same person in an entirely different scenario. You might want to supply multiple images. So for example, the DJ is in a club, right? The DJ is in a club. So we're going to change the environment. And I've supplied a few sample source images. Or maybe the man is in a business suit, and this is a resume photo, right? So we've got that. So we got the DJ in a club here. Did it do a good job of it? Not great, not amazing. But depending on your source image, it'll have an easier or a harder time kind of working with that. Okay, so now we've got our Nano Banana version of the business resume. I'm not too thrilled with how that came together. Again, this is why we use Openart. We can change models. Let's try Openart. Let's switch over to Seed Dream. Let's give that a chance. Let's give Flux Context Max a chance. Again, everything's loaded up so I can easily switch models around and I can see which image generation model does the best for the particular use case. Okay, so here we have the Flux Context Max version. It's kind of just chosen a random person and yeah, didn't really capture me. There's the GPT image version that didn't really work out too well. But in this case, like I was saying before, Seed Dream seems pretty good with people. There we have the Seed Dream version. And now we actually have something which, kind of resembles me and the photos that I supplied, as well as made the modification as which I asked for, which was to put into a business suit. So yeah, in this case, like I say, Seed Dream was the winner. And like I say, beautiful thing, open source, I've said it like 5 times now, is just the ability to choose whichever models you want. And then as you can see already, probably different models have different strengths and different weaknesses. And being able to swap around between them to get the results you're actually looking for, like this isn't me, that's not me, that's not me, this is definitely correct, right? So let's take a look at our source image again, right? There we go. That's basically correct. There, I'll zoom in a little bit. You can make out the detail. That's pretty on point. Like that's pretty accurate right there. Okay, other use cases. Let's see. Okay, possible use cases. Let's continue. For example, let's say you just wrote an ebook and you want to have a nice cover art created. Let's go back to cats, right? Create a ebook with cover art for my cat book, which is titled Cats Are Cute. And Nano Banana is going to understand that this title is meant to be in text. Other image generation models, for example, Flux Context Max, will require quotes. So Seed Dream doesn't require quotes, Nano Banana doesn't require quotes, but other image generation models will require quotes like this. So this basically means this should be text. So if you find yourself using other models, just use quotes around whatever you want to have appear as text. That being said, Nano Banana, Flux Contact, or Seed Dream are probably going to be what you're playing around with the most. Again, I'm going to fire up a couple of different models, see which comes out the best. Okay, that one actually came out with a modern book, that tablet style book, right? Let's actually specify, create a paperback book. There we go. Let's create a paperback book. So let's say you just wrote a book called Cats Are Cute and you need to create a cover art for your product page or whatever the case may be. Well, now you've got some gorgeous artwork to go along with your, okay, there's the Seed Dream version. It did not pay attention to that this should be a book, right? It's just created the cover art that's meant to go on a book or something like that. Like I say, different models, different strengths, different weaknesses. There's our paperback version, which, that's just, that's these are all just awesome product photos if you're, selling an ebook, for example. Let's say, for example, for another use case example, don't know how many of you are into marketing or like creating Facebook ads. If you ever wanted to like launch a business, create a Shopify store, whatever the case may be, the day may come that you need to launch some Facebook ads or Instagram ads or whatever. Using Nano Banana, I can say something like, create a high converting ad creative with a minimalist design and strong calls to action for whatever you're selling. What are you selling? Maybe for my running shoe company. Okay, running shoe company. Let's get up a couple of images there. Should we give Seed Dream a chance too? Sure, why not? Let's see how they do. Kind of like seeing what gives the best results. Okay, so there is our minimalist, honestly beautiful, eye-catching design. Look at the design work. It used to be that you would have to hire a designer. Designer would take, a day, 2, 3 days to come up with beautiful, even simple ad creatives like this. Like this is all beautifully close crop. And if you had an actual image of your real shoes, of course, remember, you can just upload your real image of your real shoes into the image reference and actually work with your actual product, right? In this case, we're just coming up with random images of random shoes, but be aware that you can use your exact shoe. So there we've got the Seed Dream version. And the beautiful thing about it is that I said high converting with strong calls to action. I didn't say I didn't say run faster, feel lighter. It did the thinking for me. And that's actually great. Like, that's great. Run faster, feel lighter. That's a strong call to action, right? Like, you can see how these are amazing ads. Okay. Like, this is a minimalist design. So it's kind of got like, well, minimalist elements to it. But you could just, come up with any sort of design style, let's say sports design with strong calls to action and see what we get. So let's give Nano Banana a try. Also, again, I've already kind of covered this, but let's cover it again because we're doing use cases. Let's say that you were using a particular shoe. Let's say that this was exactly your shoe. Let's use this red one because it kind of stands out. I could say something like, uh, put this shoe on a model in uh, location Miami Beach, right? Like, basically, what you can do is replace photo shoots. Okay, so here's our sports design. As you can see, the art style is totally changed. Now we're looking like a total. These are so good. These are so good. These make me giddy just to look at how good these came out. This one, okay, so this is the Seed Dream version. No, actually, no. This is the Nano Banana version. So Seed Dream, I think, absolutely dialed these and just came up with amazing sports looking athletics. Like, it used to be, oh, you would just spend so much on graphic design to come up with, like, this is, I mean, it's got little swoops, as you can see, little speed swoops. Like, these are subtle and amazing graphical design elements. The text pops, the calls to action are there. Like, this is gorgeous, gorgeous graphical design. So, okay, so put this shoe on a model, location Miami Beach, purpose, add creative, high converting, calls to action, art style. Let's go back to minimalist again. No, let's go to art style. Let's go to art style retro. Let's have some fun. Do something a little interesting here. Again, Nano Banana, Seed Dream. Don't know what's going to do best. I bounce between these two models. Again, keep an eye on this course because as new and better models update, and it seems like every few months they do, I'll let you know which ones are kicking ass in the current day and time. There we go. So we've got our shoes. Now remember, these shoes look like this, right? So you can just kind of memorize our red soles, red snake sleepers, laces. And as you can see, there's our red soles, red laces. So there's our model. And there's our Miami Beach, right? Apparently this is retro according to Nano Banana. I don't say it isn't. It's actually got a bit of an 80s aesthetic to it. But there's our model. There's our shoes. I mean, how good is this? If you've got any sort of product for sale, or do any sort of like online business, this is phenomenal. And here's our Seed Dream version. It's kind of taken a different route where we've got kind of a close up of the shoe. Not bad. Don't dislike that. And very retro. Look at that vintage sort of art style. Okay, what other use cases? Okay, how about this for an interesting use case? Over here, I've got a little query into a GPT chat agent, and I've got number of people, state population for a bunch of different things. So let's say we wanted to do a little chart or an infographic, right? That might be too many. Let's grab a few and say create a visual chart out of this. And I'm just going to like paste in population by state in USA. And we'll do we'll create a little chart. I'm going to actually clear my source image there. So we'll do a little chart. Nano Banana, Seed Dream are going to handle this, I think, pretty well. Other models will probably not handle something complex like this. They might. I don't think so, though. I don't think they will. That's like I say, Nano Banana came around, Seed Dream came around, and they flipped AI image generation on its head by just what you can do. Okay, so there we've got our Nano Banana version. I would say that looks not bad, except the numbers are not really on point. Here's our Seed Dream version, which actually just created a chart with numbers instead of showing the size of each one, like kind of respectively. Maybe I should specify that bigger the size of population, the larger the chart bar, be relative to population size. Sometimes you got to correct things with your instructions. Sometimes it'll intuit what you want, and sometimes you got to correct things with your instructions. And sometimes, well, the general idea will not land. Sometimes, you might be asking for something that's a little out of bounds. But I think in this case, yeah, let's see. Okay, I think that's better. That's quite a bit better. So 38 is quite a bit higher. That bar is not good, but it does indeed have the sizes a little more relative for the rest of these. So actually, those prompt instructions did mostly correct, and we can kind of get a relative, not perfect, but like I say, you might need to hit generate a few times before you get exactly what you want. Or you can do something like, yeah, that. Anyway, so yeah, just be aware anything, but creating infographics and that sort of stuff is something you can certainly do with AI. I might have overcomplexified things with this query, but I think you could tweak that around until you got what you're actually looking for relative, population size. But still pretty impressive that it manages to generally pull off what we're asking here. And so anyway, like I say, use cases, whatever your imagination can come up with, you can basically do it with image generation. Um, just to touch upon a couple of things briefly, when you generate an image, you will also generate images at a certain size. Seedream gives you the option of how many pixels you want to generate that at 1K, 2K, 4K. Nano Banana defaults to 1K images, but Openart does allow you to take an image which is smaller, for example, 1024 by 1024, which is plenty for like social media posting or whatever. But if you wanted like a really high resolution print or something like that, there is the option to upscale. And you can just go and you can upscale the image twice, 2 times or 4 times resolution. So just be aware that the option to upscale your images is there. And like I was saying before, if you want to kind of continue with the work of a previous job that you're working on, you can just click on reuse settings and that will reload your prompt. And if there was any Omni image references, it would reload those into the Omni image reference or whatever the case may be. But I think that's a pretty good overview of, what sorts of things you can do with OpenArt. Your image generation capacity has now been unlocked. Go have fun, enjoy, and see you guys in the next lesson.